Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. I got a couple more thoughts about what's going on at Penn State. We'll get to that in a minute. But we are coming off of some Monday Night Football that was interesting to me. Buffalo lost to the Atlanta Falcons, which, I mean, of course, and obviously, it's the kind of thing that, make people lose respect for you. But the Falcons are actually not so bad this year. And I've talked about this on this show before, and I need to say this again, and I think that this is something that people lose and forget. There is nothing better. All right, so I would say this 2 things. There are 2 things in football that nothing tops. One on offense, one on defense. On defense, it is a broader category, which is the heat-seeking missile, right? There are many different types of heat-seeking missiles. But when there is a heat-seeking missile, there's nothing more fun than to watch a heat-seeking missile. So Lawrence Taylor, obviously, is an example of a heat-seeking missile. Ray Lewis is a slightly different aesthetic, but a heat-seeking missile. Troy Polamalu, who's like a decathlete sort of heat-seeking missile. He is a heat-seeking missile. Michael Parsons, I think, fits in the category. Like, it's one thing when a guy is really good, and it could be kind of fun when it's like Reggie White, who's not quite a heat-seeking missile, but Reggie White is like, I'm so strong, and I never lift weights. You know what I mean? Like, there's those sorts of guys, but the heat-seeking missile is one thing. But number 1, at the top of the list, something that a whole generation of youth really don't know nothing about, and that is the, oh my God, I can't believe how good you are running back. Just flat out, I can't believe how talented you are. And Ryan, that guy's name is Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, when you see him breaking that 81-yard run, you feel like he's able to do that every time. I mean, you've gotten like glimpses of that with peak Saquon, but there is obviously when Derrick Henry is really rolling, but you don't see a lot of that in the last 5 years.
So like with Derrick Henry, it's a slightly different thing because he's just so big and strong, right? But he's big and strong and obviously not slow, like fast. I don't want to say adequate speed because that's not fair, but he's not Earl Campbell. Have you ever looked at college clips of Earl Campbell?
It's been a long time.
Okay, so NFL clips of Earl Campbell are Earl Campbell putting his head in people's chests and running through them. What you don't realize until you watch college Earl Campbell clips is just how fast he was, because college Earl Campbell clips are him running by people.
Right.
Like they couldn't even get close enough for him to do the actual Earl Campbell stuff, right? Derrick Henry at every level has felt more like pro Earl Campbell, but not the guy that just runs away from you. Bijan looked like he's whatever it is that you want. Like, if we could have gone back to the days of the 30 carry running back, Bijan's the guy everybody wants to be like. He's that dude. Can you imagine if you had Bijan playing with, how about this? Not even playing with. Do the Falcons play against the Cowboys this year? If so, I can't wait. Some dude named Rico just took 30 carries against the Make-A-Wish Foundation and ran for damn near 200 yards. Damn, they don't play. Can the Falcons trade Bijan to somebody who played the Cowboys this year? Because he might run for 400 yards, right? Man, I love watching that dude play. I'm off of that narcotic. Don't get me wrong. I'll also make this other point about the Falcons as I have gone on this detour that I did not expect. I think we all generally agree that the Falcons overdrafted by position with a handful of guys, right? I think we felt that way about Penix. We felt that way about y'all felt that way about Bijan. I was drafting that dude. Okay. Even Drake London to a degree, but Kyle Pitts, I guess, is the other one that people talked about. Hey, man, that offense full of those overdrafted guys looked pretty good. They didn't score enough points, but they looked pretty good. Sometimes you got to do it. But anyway, the lesson I was taking from that game is that Buffalo is good, not great. Because while their defense is not the Make-A-Wish Foundation, you can run the ball on them pretty easily. They were out there. The Bears and the Commandos, that looked like a heap and helping of aight. They're just aight. And as I look around it, the league got a bunch of aight right now. Think about this for a second. I'm not alone in this, and maybe not all of you agree, but I do feel like a lot of you do. Kansas City beat America's team. That unfortunately is given a little bit more aight right now than I would prefer. Plus, that little janky suspension against Brian Brandt. I mean, come on, man. That dude had a helmet on. He just slapped him in the face. But anyway, they look aight. But the Chiefs, who it wasn't just but a couple of weeks ago, we were like, ooh, I don't know, I think the whole thing is over. I am convinced they're going to the Super Bowl now at 3-3. Why? Because the rest of the league is just aight. Ryan, you know what the rest of the league is?
I believe, as Kim Ward put it, to keep it a buck, their ass.
Yes. There's a lot of that. I was going with what the kids mean when they say mid.
Yeah, okay.
Which is, by the way, fairly synonymous with ass in the way that they talk about it. But there's a lot of keister.
Yeah.
In the NFL right now. NFL got a lot of keister. Name the great team. You can't. Again, the team with the best point differential in the league by far is the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not ready. Ryan, are you ready?
No. No.
Let me tell you something. If I can't believe in Sam Darnold yet, if I'm still holding out on Baker Mayfield,
I'm not believing in Daniel Jones.
I don't know what Daniel Jones got to do.
No. No, not happening.
I can't.
I won't do it.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I just refuse. But we were getting ready to do this show today, and I was looking at the standings. Do you realize that 25% of the NFL right now is keister? A full-on 25%. The Dolphins, the Jets, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns, the Titans, the Raiders, and the Saints. Didn't forget about you guys. Keister. Everywhere you look is keister. The AFC North is the Steelers and the keister. That's right. Everybody in that division right now stinks. And the Titans. Now that's keister. They just fired their coach, by the way. They fired Brian Callahan. They made Mike McCoy the interim coach. And you got to wonder how much it is keister in the NFL right now. Got some nervous coaches. Because once the first one goes, all of y'all are on notice, right? Like it feels like it goes that way. I don't think the Jets can afford to fire Aaron Glenn in the middle of the season, but damn it, he's trying to see. I can't believe Mike McDaniel still worked there. I feel like every time we do a show, I need to offer the caveat of what time that show was recorded, and that by the time you hear this, Mike McDaniel might get fired, because it just feels totally like it's on the board. As a big fan of both Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, it's a little disappointing how much keister they are, but to be fair, that is a lot of individual keister and collective keister. That's like, what was that quote you sent me, Ryan, about the Titans, that the only good player they got is Jeffrey Simmons?
I believe one of the Raiders coaches, I'm going to pull up the quote now. This might be the worst team I've seen in the last 25 years. They don't have any difference makers other than Jeffrey Simmons, and the whole thing was a total mess.
Well, Ryan, think about two things. Two things before you go, right, on that. Number one, in the last 25 years, we have seen not one, but two teams go winless.
Correct.
Okay? Number two, who did you say said that?
A Raiders coach.
Who does he watch every day?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. Every day he watches the Raiders, and he saw that team. It was like, ooh, those guys stink. Like, what? Like, my buddy Matt in Kentucky, he tells this story. And if you guys know my buddy Matt is from, I believe, Middlesboro, Kentucky. And he sounds largely like he's from Middlesboro, Kentucky, which I find to be just fine. But he said once that he had his professor, it was this British cat, and they were riding around somewhere, and they were somewhere in deepest, darkest North Carolina. and they pulled up on somebody, and the guy asked Matt where he was from, and Matt says, well, I'm from Bell County. And he said, Matt does a super deep accent. He's like, oh, you're from Bell County. Ooh, y'all got some real rednecks down there. And he said that British guy looked up and was mortified at the idea that this man that they were talking to who sounded like that believed that there was a place that had a greater quality of rurality than the place that he was in. He just couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's how I think that Raiders coach had to feel when he looked up and he saw that there was somebody even more keister than the guys that he's around every day. But I bring this all up to say, I'm trying to figure out what to make of this. Like, we've got a league right now that doesn't have any team with a high ceiling and a lot of teams that seem to be sorry. And by the way, sorry, interestingly, enough of these teams actually have quarterbacks, right? Like the Ravens have a quarterback, the Bengals have a quarterback. Now, granted, part of why these guys are sorry is because they don't have their quarterbacks, but they also look fairly sorry when they did have their quarterbacks. The Dolphins don't have a quarterback. The Jets don't have a quarterback. The Titans feel like they have a quarterback. The Raiders have a quarterback. Their quarterback is a player right now, and it doesn't look like they have a quarterback in the future. And the Saints do not have a quarterback. And there is no help on the way. It's not there. Watch college football. Listen to the names that people are talking about. Somebody's going to probably do it with Carson Beck because at the very least, he has looked the part. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way. He's big, strong, and it looks good when he throws the football. Maybe that's going to be the guy that you wind up with. But no help is coming. But we've got a league right now that is just really largely populated by a bunch of mid and then a lot of Reggie. It's almost a lot of Reggie. It's almost offensive because like if you hit the Reggie hard enough and for long enough, it'll do the job. You can't smoke enough Titans to get you where you want to go. You can't roll up enough Browns to make you feel good. All you're gonna do is get a headache. The NFL, 25% headache. All right, so we were talking about Penn State and what happened with firing James Franklin. And my immediate conclusion was that, wow, this is crazy because nothing like this has ever happened. And then I got to thinking about all the things that I know about college sports and was like, okay, I understand why this move was made. Then I found out that his buyout had offset language. And it's like, oh, okay, this may not even cost enough money. Franklin's agent didn't do right by him. Jimbo Fisher had a $75 million, I think it was 75, but either way, he had a lump sum buyout. Franklin don't got a lump sum. Franklin's got one of those where they get to trick it out. Like that was, you should have called somebody else.
They get to trick it out, and also he has to go look for another job.
He does, right? And see, that wouldn't be the case. If it was the lump sum, it wouldn't be the case.
Right.
So since it goes that way, yeah, the offset language says he's got to at least try. And let me tell you about trying to find a job in this economy. See, what I don't know about those provisions is, does he have to try to find a job even if it's beneath his stature?
Yeah, right? I don't know. I'm not sure what the language on that is, but I'm sure he doesn't have to just take any job.
Right, but like if Purdue comes calling, are you telling me he has to take that?
Yeah,
like just know that if they're on Vanderbilt, it's like come back.
He's already done Vanderbilt once. You can't make him do that again.
Yeah, like Arkansas. Would he have to do that? Like, do you have to just take any old goddamn job? Because I don't know. I don't know about you, brother, but I've watched quite a few people look for jobs. Like James Franklin every day, you just go see him on Twitter with a newspaper and a highlighter with a picture on Instagram. Looking for another job. Hey, they didn't say it had to be a coaching job. It could just be a job. Just we gonna see James Franklin out here volunteering with the poor people out there with a ladle.
No check.
It happen. Yeah, but the move. I've talked about this all the time. Once it stops being fun, then people don't want it anymore. Also talked to a few more people. I asked the question on the show who the money was at Penn State, and a big part of the money on Penn State is Terry Pegula, the owner of the Buffalo Bills. And my understanding is James Franklin didn't really make the relationship with him, which I find to be very interesting because James Franklin moves like a dude that knows who it is that you got to be friends with and who you got to be cool with. And I would have thought that that would have been job one in that case. Like in the end, James Franklin, in the end, and I think I may have mentioned this briefly on the last show, but I don't think we think about him in the proper context. And that context is he's truly the guy that followed the legend. Bill O'Brien was only there for 2 years after the Paterno thing happened. And it was such chaos that like nobody was expecting Bill O'Brien to get you to the heights that you had reached under Joe Paterno. I see a lot of people making the point that Bill O'Brien was the guy that rebuilt the program at Penn State. And I just want to point out that, guys, we don't need to lie. Like, he held it down, but he left complaining about this, that, and the third and everything else so he could go back to the NFL. But you go look at the actual performance of those teams. And again, it's not his fault. They were decimated by all kinds of circumstances. But, I mean, they got a couple of not bad wins here and there, but that was not, he didn't do that. The dude that got Penn State fully to the place where you thought about them the way you used to think about them is Franklin. He did that. He's going to probably historically go down as a very important figure in the history of that program. But I also think he'll probably go down in the history of that program probably as some combination of Earl Bruce and John Cooper at Ohio State, where Cooper, I think, demonstrated best the capability that Ohio State could be right back at the top as it had been pre-integration, right? That he could do that, they could do that while also consistently falling short of what they actually wanted it to be. Like, that's where I think Franklin's going to go. But Franklin also is your reminder that fit matters, and how well you fit culturally at a place really matters. And it especially matters when you need to buy some time. And so on the front end of that job, Franklin was given some time as they were recovering from the sanctions and the scandal and everything else. On the front end, he had the time. On the back end, he didn't really have the time. Because from what it sounds like to me, even though he is a dude that's from Pennsylvania, they didn't really see him as fit. Okay? Now, I know some of you are raising in your heads a very obvious question about what you mean by fit. And I'm not talking about that, but I'm not saying that isn't part of it. I don't know this situation well enough, right? But I do know this. Paterno, similar to Bobby Bowden, a handful of other guys, but I think Paterno is actually the very last of the coaches who more so fit the archetype of a gym teacher than the archetype of a CEO, right? So let me make sure I'm clear about what I'm saying. A guy like Will Muschamp obviously fits the archetype of a gym teacher. Okay. You know what, actually, Ryan, he's the archetype of the gym teacher, but they might make him the history teacher, and then you look up and find out that he actually knows a lot about history.
Oh, I bet Will Muschamp is unironically very into World War II.
Yes.
Like just crushing Richard Evans books. You got to be very careful of the ones who are super into the Civil War.
Yes.
But the ones who are super into World War II.
Well, Will is, I believe, in one of those frats. I can't remember if it's that one or the other one.
Gotcha.
You know, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, but he is in one of them. But I'm trying to, I guess what I'm thinking about is, or the point that I'm trying to make is that, or how about this? This is a better way to put it. Paterno was a coach before coaches made zillions of dollars.
Yes.
Right? And moved with a lifestyle of the old college football coach that lived in the neighborhood where all the professors lived.
Lived somewhere where looked like he was making 5 figures, not 8 figures.
Yes. Where like your address and phone number in the phone book Like, you could just pull up to Joe. And we realized this when Joe Paterno, when it all went bad, and like the people would pull up in front of his house with the rallies and stuff like that. He was the last of those guys where the coach felt really, really approachable or as part of things. Joe Paterno had that job for like 50 years, right? The entire archetype of what it was to be a college football coach changed while he had that job. It even changed around him as he was more a figurehead for the program, and they changed everything around it, right? But the truth is, the culture of the place that we're talking about, it seems from a distance to still be largely a culture that has the expectations of a Joe Paterno football program in terms of results. And that's also probably what they want a bit in terms of who the head coach is, right? LSU, and Ryan, you tell me if I'm wrong here. Forgive me for keep pulling it on you there, but you guys would like your coach to be kind of fun.
It would help.
Right? I mean, even Nick Saban is maniacal, but fun to watch how maniacal he is.
Right. He has a personality.
Yes, exactly. There is a personality, even if it isn't the most fun personality all the time. There is a personality, but you guys want your coaches to be fun. Florida, they want their coaches to score points. Like, everybody has different things that they want from their coaches, but the only way that you ever really know what a place wants from the coach is if you're kind of it.
Right.
And I've done this long way around to say, go ahead and have the press conference tomorrow and say you're hiring Matt Rule at the end of the year. Just go ahead and pull it. Go ahead and do it, right? And here's the thing that's going to drive James Franklin crazy. They're going to hire Matt Rule. Matt Rule played at Penn State, and we'll get to it, but I want to be clear. I think Matt Rule's a very good college football coach, right? He's of the place. He knows how the place moves, and he has a little bit more personality-wise seems like more of the approachable college football coach, less the star college football coach, a little bit closer to the teacher / minister. You know, he's the son of a minister, right? Like, he's a little closer to that archetype of coach. The only thing about that is he's got the same problem as James Franklin. He wins a lot of games. Just not always the ones that you want him to win. That's the knock on Matt Rule, is performance against top 20 opponents. However, there is a giant counterpoint there. And by the way, Ryan, we need to save this, what we're recording now, for when they do actually hire Matt Rule, and we can just go ahead and run it verbatim. Like, everything will be the same. Do you know where Matt Rule did all this winning, all this stuff we're talking about, guys, before he got to Nebraska? It was at Temple and at Baylor. And not just, Baylor's a generally awful job. Don't let that, the schools in Texas shit fool you. It's in Waco, and
you're at best the fourth most important program in that state.
Maybe it's small, and it's a school where they didn't have school dances until 1997, and that is not an exaggeration. In my life, my daddy was Baylor. They can't even dance at Baylor. He would always say
go to school in the footloose town.
Yes, that was exactly it. But Matt Rule turned Temple into a winner. He turned Baylor into a winner. Nebraska and Penn State are somewhat similar in the sense that it'll never be what it was at Nebraska, in the way that I don't think it'll ever be what it was at Penn State. But what it can be at Penn State is greater than what it can be at Nebraska, right? I think that that's all fair. But we have never, it's one thing to put a program together. It is another thing to keep one together. And we have never seen Matt Rule keep one together. Like, we saw James Franklin. We didn't know this really about him at Vanderbilt either. Could you keep it together? Because he put it to places that we had never seen, but could you keep it there?
12 years at Penn State is a lifetime in college football coaching.
It is. And I think he kept it. I think he did 34-8. That's the most recent run.
They were in the top 5.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Right. So, like, he got it there, and it's fair to say that he demonstrated an ability to keep it there. That's the question that we're going to have on Matt Rule. And understand, there are some guys who, for whatever reason, can't do that. Lou Holtz was historically a great example of a guy who at every job got it there and could not keep it there. Even with Notre Dame, like, he kept it there for a little longer than he had at Arkansas, but Could not keep it there. NC State fans famously asked the question, what if Lou Holtz had stayed? Because Lou Holtz had coached there for a little while, what our program could have been. And it would have turned into a different variety of that same NC State shit that y'all be dealing with at every point. Lou Holtz, by the way, who got fired. Think about how different the world is. Lou Holtz got fired at Arkansas, I want to say in 1985. Do you know why he got fired officially?
I do not.
So it started coming apart football-wise. But remember, I said Lou Holtz used to be the coach in NC State. Lou Holtz filmed a campaign ad in his office for Jesse Helms.
Fired.
Frank Broyles, may be very clear, fired him. Here's what I find amazing about that story. The idea that there was a time that campaigning for an overtly racist Republican could cost you your job in Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, this is Bill Clinton's Arkansas.
Right.
That we're talking about. But that's how much different the world is. Back then, you could not get away with that shit.
Right.
That was 15 years after like full-on integration.
Yeah.
And you could not get away with that. Now you can.
Yeah.
Different world. But anyway, I don't know if Rule can actually be the guy to put it together, but it's going to look funny in the light, and everybody needs to know this, that they are going to hire somebody whose problem is that he does the thing or has done the thing that James Franklin has done. It is not always fair on his face, but it is an argument to be made. But the bottom line is Matt Rule is close with the athletic director. Matt Rule is close with the place, and they did not fire James Franklin because they were losing. They fired him because they didn't like how it felt. And at least for a little while, this is going to feel a lot better. Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code Bomani. That's code Bomani. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. All right, speaking of college football, Bill Belichick denied reports of him considering the buyout, calling the exit categorically false. They play Cal in a nationally televised game on Friday. Bo, how do you think this Bill Belichick thing plays out over the next few weeks?
Yeah, what I take that as is, in the words of the great Stephon Marbury, they're going to give me all of my money. That's what that is. If Belichick pursues the buyout, it's Belichick writing them a check for like $1 million or something like that and then getting out of there. There is no way in the world that Bill Belichick wants to signal that he is willing to make it easy for them to get rid of him. But they got to get rid of him. Now, that's the one where we need to find out exactly what the offset language is. Now, of course, the problem for Carolina with offset language with Bill Belichick is he might be able to get a media job, but his media job will be like what he was doing before, right? Like doing something like, I don't even know if Inside the NFL still come on, but like doing a show like that or like a film show, but it's not going to be enough to truly eat up at all that money they are paying him. But this is where stuff like Franklin messes it up. Now, I had a buddy of mine who made the point where he saw that Franklin had got fired, and he said, yep, that's what you do when you're serious about football. Take a guess where he went to college.
UNC?
Oh, no. What school above all else can you think of that would use the phrase serious about football?
Alabama.
He's like, you're damn right. 34-8, not good enough.
Yeah.
That's not what we're about. It was the first time I'd ever seen crazy Bama fan come out of him, and he wasn't even being that crazy. But I fully got what he was saying.
Just said it matter-of-factly.
Yeah, he was like, this is what we're going to do. Or the greatest and most important quote in the history of college football, Jeremy Foley, after they decided they were going to fire Ron Zook after he got croomed in 2004. That which will be done eventually should be done immediately. They are going to fire Bill Belichick. I don't know where they're going to get this money from to get him out of here, but they got to get him out of here because it's not going to get any better. They're not going to win any more games. We're again getting more stuff about, the Patriots and him, whether or not he had allowed them to tweet about the Patriots, which means tweeting about Drake May, which is probably the greatest PR that this program has. All of this stuff. How can anybody be having fun right now?
Also, all those players are going to leave.
Yes.
And who's going to want to go back there?
Well, here's the one thing. Some of those players are going to leave, right? But case in point, their quarterback, I read, is making $2 million. I don't think nobody giving that little homie $2 million to go nowhere else. He trying to figure out how to stay forever.
I get a contract extension.
Yeah. He would like to get a Farm D if he somehow could and stick around. But he's going to try to get his money. But what's got to stink for him, and I think the thing that makes him want to stay more than anything else is, once it's over here, it's over.
Right.
Ain't no jobs. There's no more. What do you do when the only thing in the world that does it for you is just not an option? We're about to find out just how in love he is, or more accurately, how in love she is. This shit they doing is a lot easier to do when he at work for 60 hours a week.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly not doing the media tour you did last year, and you're certainly not getting another NFL job. So
no.
How this is going to work, it'll be interesting.
Yo, I just forgot. You're right. He can't get no job in the NFL in all likelihood. With the
no
way
chance. No, there's no way he's going back to the NFL.
I mean, not just as a coach. Can he get a job broadcasting? Like, do you want to hire Bill Belichick? And okay, think about this for a second. Let's imagine it's a bizarro world, and there is an inside the NFL that is like inside the NBA. Can you imagine the hell that bizarro Charles Barkley gives Bill Belichick for being in the news about this girl?
Let's say Fox calls, hey, you want to come hang out for 8 weeks? Even Terry that's a pretty G-rated show.
Yeah.
But I mean, even Bradshaw will make those jokes.
Yeah, but he's not taking them.
Yeah.
He's not just rolling with the punches.
No.
And what nobody wants is something unpredictable.
Right.
And he's kind of sort of unpredictable, and with a clear grudge against a team in the league.
Well, a very powerful owner.
Yeah, you can't. He's done. He's going to hold on to this job as tight as he can.
It's wild. All right. Shifting gears here. Target is soft launching sales of a THC-infused beverages at select stores in Minnesota. They're going to target 10 select stores in the state to put a dozen THC drink bans. Bo, your thoughts?
Hey, man, I know Pretendo when I see it. That sounds something don't sound right about this. Does Target even sell beer?
Target sells beer.
They do. Oh, okay.
Well, Target sell. Well, it's one of those things with every state has their own specific.
But that's what I was about to say.
I'm sorry, the Louisiana just came out very fast.
That's
of course,
exactly
Target
what I
sells
was
beer.
saying right there. Every store is a liquor store in Louisiana. For those of you who don't know, every store is a liquor store. But right when I said that, I was like, nope, I just asked the dude Louisiana about this. But like, if I just don't see any way possible that they let you buy weed
drinkables
at the Target. I just can't. Like, how much does it have in it? I can't. But if they are right, Target's about to become the spot because then they're gonna have to get other ones.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I don't know how stores in Minnesota work. Is like if you're buying the drinkables, is it behind like a partition where you have to push the button? Is it like the cigarettes where you have to go up to your own
Yeah.
separate counter? Like, is it just in the Gen Pop store? Like the logistics of that are very interesting to me.
Well, I have to tell you, I did not realize that Minnesota had gone legal.
Tim Walls.
There he is. There he is. Wow. No, this is, hey, man, this is, dude, I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't familiar with your game, guys. I was certain that this was Pretendo. And no, it looks like, oh, it says that it's a legal gray area.
I feel like a lot of stuff with how weed is legalized has become a legal gray area. You remember those 2 years where every store in New York was a
God. That is when they do the documentary of COVID, one part will be the day New York went legal,
correct.
right? You just heard it sounded like a Lil Wayne mixtape. It just started everywhere, just lighter flick, right? All
Yeah.
over the place. And then where every store was a weed store.
Right.
Every illegal renegade. And then one day they weren't.
Then they were gone.
They were all gone.
There was a 15th month period where they were all here.
Yes.
And then they were all gone.
They were all gone. And by the way, they all made the bodegas step their games up. Every bodega got a lot cleaner and got them purple lights thanks to the weed stores.
All right. And finally, Turning Point USA has announced that the All-American halftime show, they're going to be counter-programming Bad Bunny's performance during the Super Bowl halftime. However, a lot of people fell for a fake promotional poster that included artists such as, let me pull this up so everyone can see, Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, Jason Aldean, and featuring a guest appearance from Measles.
Yeah, and it was even more people on the list. I'm like, how long do you think the Super Bowl, halftime is? 45 minutes? Like, that shit look like a music festival with measles at the bottom. And I say, I have absolutely no problem with them making the decision to do this. I can't believe that they've drawn this line in the sand. And though I guess Bad Bunny's got a lot of kind of anti-colonial politics on one of his recent records. My Spanish just ain't there. I'm gonna try to do it and see how it goes. Like his music ain't my kind of music, generally speaking, right? But look, if people don't want to watch Bad Bunny, then fine. And if they want to have like a country music halftime show, okay. Like it really doesn't bother me at all. I think it's dumb that they're this mad. I think it's dumb that they're doing all this to try to enact some measure of change. But no, if that's what y'all want to go do that. Like, this isn't going to affect me in the least. What the question is going to be about this is they have given Jay-Z and them a lot of leeway with this halftime show. And if I'm going to be honest, they probably haven't done enough, just a little bit of compromising. Like, it's been year after year after year after year after year of these acts that a significant portion of the population has nothing for. Like the G-Funk Super Bowl, that was one thing. Everybody loves the G-Funk. Kendrick Lamar was the biggest thing that was going on at the time, but it was a fair question to ask if that was a Super Bowl halftime.
You're saying they're going to have to do, they've been doing a lot for them and they're going to have to do one for us?
Jay-Z has been like, we got this now, right? Like we got this under control. And I think that this Bad Bunny thing truly is as much a backlash to that part. Now, the counterpoint obviously is, and this is true, is that they could go years and years and years of stuff that Black people don't care about at all, and we tolerate it and we truck through it, and that is 100% true. That is what we do. I am saying it has been a hard shift, and I am not surprised that it was eventually met with a measure of scorn. They're like, God damn, it's one thing to do this hippity-hoppity rapping. This motherfucker don't even speak English. And they're like, well, he does speak English. This ain't no interview. It's the halftime show.
Who is going to be Jay-Z's olive branch?
I don't even know who the midpoint is anymore.
Is it Miley Cyrus? Is it?
Because can you bring Justin Timberlake back?
That
Can you? Because I think it's about time to bring Janet Jackson back. They did her wrong. She got all the hits and jams. I think it's about time. Everybody loved Janet Jackson. And if you're going to tell me that the reason you don't love Janet Jackson is that her breast was partially exposed, I don't even know why you was here in the first place.
All right, Bo, voicemail line's open. Got a few good ones. Here's our first.
Bomani, this is Bryce in Brooklyn by way of Pittsburgh. I just got to say this, man. You've got to get off that narcotic when it comes to America's team. I know you love your Lions. America's team has been shown time and time again to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Dallas Cowboys, definitely not the New England Patriots or any of these other teams. We don't just travel well. We are everywhere in every city, in every state. They're a Steeler nation. Please understand why Pittsburgh is truly America's team. Thanks, man.
No. That's why y'all ain't won no playoff games since it was a black president. It's been that goddamn long. Look at the world around you. See how crazy everything is? It's been so long since y'all won a playoff game that black man was the president. America's team is doing it right now. Get hip. Get with the times.
All right, Bo, here's our next one.
Hey, Bomani, this is Hare from Kansas City, Missouri. I was just calling because Robert Glasper has a new album out, and there's a fantastic cover of Outkast's Prototype, and it features Norah Jones. And I was just curious, do you have any favorite covers that come to mind?
Man, that there is the super long list, right? Because like damn near everything is a cover at some point. Like it's hard for me to think of like just one that immediately jumps out. Like there's some that just become kind of classically beloved, like the Wilson Pickett cover of Hey Jude. That's always one that goes super hard because it just in some ways like seems like it doesn't or shouldn't make sense. Wow, this is what happens. My brain overloads on this because all I got to do is just really throw you one. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're really looking for is one. I am sifting through everything.
Yeah, it's like how much time you got, you know?
Yes, yes. It's like we could do this all day long. But yes, if you've never listened to the Wilson Pickett Hey Jude cover with Dwayne Allman on guitar, go ahead and start there, and I'll think more about this later.
All right, Bo, here's our last one.
What's up, Bo? So I got a question for you. If you have a time where if it was a teacher or someone you knew where they had just had it with someone, I'm thinking like someone in authority, because I got one. I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and we had a class that was taught by a priest named Father George, and one time, I'm going to change, that's his name. I'll change everyone else's name involved. There was this guy, call him Mike Jones, right? Who? And he was just misbehaving all class. And Father George says, all right, boys, if no one is supposed to say a word unless they raise their hand, okay? I've had it. Do you understand me? And Mike raises his hand. He goes, what do you want, Michael? I understand, Father. And he just like, stay after class. And so he has to stay after class. We're all like crying around the door looking at him like, ooh, you know, you're in trouble. And we hear Father George, a man of the cloth, say, Michael, you are a jerk, an asshole, and I hate you. Now get out of my room. Walked out with his head down. And I just couldn't believe it. A priest telling a young man that he hates him. He just had it. And honestly, he deserved it. he was acting up and did it a lot. So yeah, let me know if you got one, something like that. All right, man. Talk to you.
So I remember that. So I used to ride the school bus when I was in school. And it was interesting because I did not actually live in the school district, but I would ride the school bus to my mom's office. So I went to school in this little town called Waller, and I would ride the bus to Prairie View where my mom's office was, right? And so Prairie View, or this Waller County, which you may know as, this is just to give you a little context about some of the situations, that is where the Sandra Bland incident took place, right? And I'm just saying this to say that I think things were there was a touch more schism than I fully appreciated or realized at the time. Anyway, so my bus dropped all the kids off in Prairie View. And so it was a kind of wall-to-wall black bus. And in this period of time, the only white people on the bus were these two white kids who rode the bus because their white mother, Miss Susan, was driving the bus. Okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. We was a handful. And I want to be very careful in not implying that Miss Susan had animosity toward us because we was black on that bus, because I would have had animosity toward our black asses too. And I don't recall her ever expressing anything in terms of race. But I do remember one day, Miss Susan wasn't driving the bus no more. She just wasn't driving the bus no more. And Miss Susan, apparently, I had not been on the bus the day before, and they said that Miss Susan had a meltdown on that bus and said loud enough to be heard that, quote, "I would rather cut grass and pick cotton than drive this damn bus another day." Now, I am going to assume that she really needed this driving this bus, because otherwise, why would she be driving this bus? But however she needed that money to drive the bus. She didn't.
Being on as someone as a parent now, someone who being on a bus with like 46-year-old kids,
yeah,
or like 6 to 10-year-old that sounds awful.
So I have a friend, and I will not identify who that friend is, but he tells a story about this apartment he had in college, and they was in there just acting bad, tore the place up, on top of the fact that they was moving various forms of dope and a few firearms out of this apartment, right? Like, it was just way too much going on. They late on the rent, all that stuff, right? They said one day, goddamn landlord came in, looked around, and just said, "You gotta go. Don't worry about I don't care about the money. I just get your shit and go. You just gotta go." There's nothing quite like when somebody is driven to that absolute end where this must cease. This must stop. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this here 3 times a week. Hit our voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Let us know whatever is on your mind, 323-596-7767. Ryan Brumley handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.